So why is the Roman interpretation any better than?
Yeah, 'cause
It is not unless the Catholic Church was established by Christ. If it was not established by Christ, it's just another interpretation.
Yeah, but it was 100 years after he was dead.
We would say, if you go back, we were talking about Clemens of Rome, AD 90, so that's 60 years, less than 60 years after Christ died. We say that this church, we get Ignatius of Antioch in about 107 AD, who says, where Christ is, there's the Catholic Church. So the institution as a named institution already exists. And it's familiar to his readers, so it must have existed before he wrote. So we can see, at least by the mid to late 2nd century, the Catholic Church exists. So does it come into existence after Jesus has died a few decades later? We can't say no, it didn't, because we don't have the documents from that. We only have the New Testament documents then.
But Jesus wouldn't have said, go and form a new church based on Judaism, but make it like European.
No. What he says, upon this rock, when he's talking to Peter, I will build my church. And then St. Paul, in 1 Timothy 3:15, speaks of the church, which is the pillar and foundation of truth. So the church exists. At Ignatius of Antioch in 107, so if Paul writes that in about AD 55,
Right.
Ignatius of Antioch in AD 107, speaks of the Catholic Church. We've got, say, a 50-year gap between those two statements. Only if the church Paul talks about has been subverted or got rid of and replaced by this thing called the Catholic Church that Ignatius is speaking of, can it be said that my church is not the true church that's established by Christ and the apostles ruled. As there's no evidence, no documentary evidence, no disputes about the Catholic Church being the true church, then we can take the Ignatius letter, which refers to the Catholic Church, as referring to the same church which Paul refers to as the church, and as Christ refers to as the church that he will build. Thus, there's every reason to believe that this church, called the Catholic Church, was founded by Christ.